I'm going to pour my heart out just slightly, just a little. I don't anticipate this being a particularly long video. It's just I started thinking in general about maybe the sacrifices I've made to follow my dreams and the struggles along the way, but also the frustrations that come with that. It's just there's an awful lot of expectation I place upon myself. In some ways, an unnecessary burden. Sometimes there's part of me that just wishes I just let loose, but people have all these other experiences that I just haven't had or I refuse to have because it's like my intelligence just gets in the way. I become my own worst enemy. But I also recognize that those sort of indulgences that others do, it's toxic, it's just a temptation, but it's frustrating because you miss out on certain aspects of life, and it's like, be nice just to let loose, I think. Let loose and just be a bit wild just for a moment, but I just can't do it. I hold myself to such a standard um, that I don't allow myself to just be a bit like that. So it becomes a bit frustrating, really. In some ways, missing out on life, even though it's not the best part of life, but it's still something. So what tend to do is I tend to. It's almost like gambling, I just throw everything on the line to pursue a dream. But what I do, I try to balance it. So I'll throw everything into something and then I'll take it, then I'll go back to maybe the status quo just for a period. And that's how I feel at the moment. I feel like it's not about giving up. It's saying that I've put everything into this. I actually don't know what more I could possibly do in this moment. And I miss the things I enjoy. It's all different aspects throughout the year, different aspects of things we like. And it's not a temptation. It's just I enjoy certain things and I'm not having time to do it. And it's like, I'd like to make more time for me to just have chill out a little bit more. Um, the problem is that you could say I have my head in the clouds because to an extent I do. I tend to look forward an awful lot. And by looking forward, it actually prevents me in the present. So, for instance, it's like I'm so focused on the future and any career opportunity that I recognize it's likely to come at the sacrifice of the current stability or something. So it'll push me outside my comfort zone. Um, and it almost feels like an inevitability. So with that in mind, I'm kind of like maybe not taking the present situation so serious because in my mind it's temporary. So, like for instance, I want to redecorate the home, like paint it and things. There's more furniture I'd like to get. There's upgrades, and it's just in part of my head is just saying, what's the point? You're investing in something that you may not be around to see the benefit of that. So there's no point doing it. But then it's like part of me is thinking you just need to learn to just get on with it though in the moment. It's like you can't keep waiting for something to happen when it may not happen, or at least it might not happen when you anticipate it. It's the same in terms of a relationship. You can't preempt these things. You just don't know when you're going to meet someone or when a union will happen or all those little things. So you put your life on hold to an extent in readiness. And then when it doesn't happen, you think, how long should I stay on standby for, though? How long should I keep myself in limbo? Um, so for now, I'm sort of giving up on the notion. It's not a case of if the opportunity comes, it's not like I'm just going to dismiss it out of hand, but I'm not really going to focus my mind and attention on it at the moment. It's just I'm going to just deviate away and allow myself the freedom to enjoy myself because, it's like I honestly feel like I'm on standby. That's what it feels like, and when you're like that for a long time, it's almost like you've kept yourself in a state of emergency or something. So you're not actually living in the moment. I think that's it gets quite sad after a period. So yeah, so there's a level of frustration because things don't always work out how you planned. I was thinking about my upcoming book that I'm working on, or the multiple manuscripts I'm working on. The deadline. I was going to release a book in December, but it's not looking like that's going to happen that quick because my mind hasn't focused on it. And then when I reflect, I think, well, my previous book came out in August, so there shouldn't really be a rush. But it's like I don't like promoting. I hate self promotion. So I'm like, I could do a few posts here and there, but the thing is, I can effectively you can lead people to water, but you can't make them drink it. And it's the same with my work. I can show people my work, but I can't make them read them. I just I can't make people absorb the content. It's like, unfortunately, you just have to create and move on, create, move on, and hope one day it all comes together. But so the part of me is like, it doesn't matter if something else doesn't come out this year because that one already came out. I normally only do one a year anyway. So I just thought, to be honest, you've done enough this year. So when it's ready, it's ready. But I do recognise I have to keep myself focused though. So it's not about derailing myself and losing sight of what matters. It's still continue to create because the thing is, you never know when an opportunity presents itself. You just don't know how it happens, where it comes from. All you can do really is put yourself in the best positions possible. So I don't give up on a dream, but I'm going to stop holding myself ransom to it, if you like, for the period now. Because like I said in the past, I've walked away from jobs and situations in pursuit of that dream. Now, of course, in the present, it hasn't been realized. I've achieved my goals, so I'm incredibly proud. And it's pushed me on to a lifestyle that sustains growth. So it's all for a purpose and it serves the process really, but it gets quite exhausting sometimes, And it's like I'm sick and tired of sacrificing to gain it's all the time. It's like it's just my life ends up unstable while I try to put everything that I know onto pages of a book and on camera to try to heal people and help inspire them. But meanwhile, my life is always sufferable, And it's like I don't want to be suffering. I want some nice things. Yeah, I want something better for my life, and sometimes those grand beginnings don't quite happen when you anticipate, and they never come. So we've got to find balance, and that's really where I'm up to now. So I think realistically, that's where my mind's going to go. So I'll still create content, but the focus, like I said, is YouTube. So it always used to be for TikTok. I will meander between the two, but I'll be making more emphasis on enjoying myself, which really I probably should have been doing in the first place. Balance is key to anything we do, and I tend to throw myself one way or the other. And then when it comes to romance and I get an idea in my mind, it just obsesses. It will literally sear into my soul because it's one of the things I want the most. But then I think sometimes you just got to allow time, space, whatever things happen when they're supposed to happen. And no amount of wishing upon a star is going to drag it any closer. It's like it's contingent upon other people, isn't it? Like I say, in terms of love and romance, I kind of feel like I hold myself to such a high standard that I've missed out on. I think being maybe a wild side. I don't know. It's like it frustrates me a little bit because I just think I could have had so many experiences, and it's like you just held just you don't you. 'Cause I can't. Yeah. Anyway, I think you hold yourself to such a high standard. It's almost like you're prisoner to your own mind, and it's not always beneficial. But I do see a lot of people who end up with prominent positions find themselves in very compromising situations, and I guess it guarantees that I don't end up in those situations because I never behaved like that in my private life before I got an opportunity. So I certainly ain't going to behave like that when I have an opportunity. But yeah, these are little things that I think people have sort of been through that I haven't had. So we've all had. I think everybody's had an experience. Maybe someone else maybe hasn't had, and yeah, I think the reality is though those are all like wild moments or whatever would have been. I think something maybe I'd look back at and regret at anyway. So you can always wonder, but then you think, to be honest, there's never really going to be anything good from something like that. But yeah, I think I focused so heavily on a potential love and so heavily on being successful that in some ways, I've forgone my own happiness. Those things, of course, have bring me an immense joy, but it's quite demoralizing when you put everything into it. So, like for instance, I've done multiple videos on love, which is just only because that's on my mind so much in them periods. Effectively, I've given people an opportunity as clear as I could possibly make it without the person, for instance, who I have in mind feeling insecure or unworthy. It's like I've made it as clear as possible. I think I've made it as easy as I possibly could for them to come forward. Of course, when they're ready. and I understand the personal circumstances dictate that too. But at least I've tried my best to open a door, or at least allow the door to be open for it. But things don't, like I said, things don't always work out when you expect them to. And it's the same with the books. I put my heart and soul into all of them, and I stand by what I do. And I know one day they'll get noticed. It was just really hard in these moments, though, when life's just that bit harder. They're a bit more unbearable than they need to be. I hate the notion of asking anyone of anything. I don't do that shit. I see that with some content creators straight away at the beginning. They talk about their PayPal and donate for this because it helps them create content. I'm thinking it doesn't help you create content. You can create content either way. It helps you in your private life. It helps you cope, so you can maybe make it a priority. But either way, if you loved it, you'd create it anyway. So that gets on my nerves a little bit. And the idea that you're trying to encourage people to do this, to do that. Again, I don't like that. I couldn't possibly ask that of anybody, and I wouldn't. Um, so all I do is like I say, put the links to my books and shit, and I would never ask someone to do a donation or anything like that. That's crazy. I think it's incredibly rude, in all honesty. So when I see people do that, I think that's so rude. Like, I understand there's a need, but it's like, nah, I still wouldn't do it. Would never do it, no matter how hard life gets. I won't. I would never do that. Yeah, I know it's a bit of a rambly video, but it's me processing really the fact that I am sort of. I think. I think from now to like Christmas, I'm releasing the pressure on myself. If I work on my book, for instance, I'll work on it. I'll do things as I want without the pressure leading up into the new year. Because I feel like, in all honesty, I've put so much effort in that it almost feels like if I can't be successful from what I've done already, then I just don't know what more could be happening. I know I have more work in me, but I don't see how it's any more captivating than what's already there. Doesn't mean the next book's not better than the previous ones, but I think there is such a standard already that I think it shouldn't need more. Yeah, of course, there will be more, but it's just the point is, I honestly, in this circumstance I'm in at the moment, I don't know what more I could do. I honestly don't know what more I could do. I mean, I could read pages from my books till the cows come home, but I can't. I don't know what more. I think often my content doesn't get categorized properly. I think that's a problem because I can create certain content and it'll get views, and then I do this my normal content and it don't get nowhere. So I don't think TikTok knows what to do with it. And I think YouTube has an issue as well. Maybe there is no category for what I do. I don't know. I don't know, but I like to just speak my mind because I think hopefully allow people to hopefully process their own thoughts, self-reflect. And also see that life isn't always simple. It's a struggle, even if it looks like it's easy for someone. It's like we're all human. We're all processing. I recognize my strengths, my talents, my gifts, but that doesn't guarantee success. That's the thing, isn't it? So someone might look on and think, "Oh, he's intelligent, or he's got his head screwed on, or he's got a good way of perceiving things." Well, I may have those things, but it doesn't mean I'm not being successful from it, though, does it? I'm still struggling, just like everybody else. Still dreaming of the perfect opportunity that just brings you fulfillment and happiness, and you can sort of like live doing what you love, and it's like, well, that's the dream, isn't it? Not quite there yet. Um, yeah, and then the situation surrounding my daughter, which kind of one of the things I want the most, and it gets heartbreaking a lot. The idea that she comes home for a short period and then has to leave again. It's like, I don't want her to leave though. Like, why does she always have to leave? It's not fair. Anyway, don't want to digress onto that too much because that just start annoying the shit out of me. In all honesty, it's one of those things. Some parts of our life are outside of our control, no matter how much you wish for something different. So yeah, like for instance, with gaming, I talk about it being an addiction. It's only I recognize where it becomes an addiction, and I know when it gets like that. It's not always an addiction. Sometimes it's just fun. Um, but I can go down a rabbit hole, and I actually, don't, in all honesty, because I have so much of an understanding of myself, I don't even mind when I do. Because if I've got nothing else to do, for instance, it's not hurting anybody. It's more an awareness that I wouldn't want to push a relationship away if one came to be. That's all it is. But then at the same time, it's it's really important that people have their own independence. It's like, the last thing I want is to, because like, what I wouldn't do is sit for hours on end every day pushing that person away, because that's toxic as shit. But there will be moments when I would, if I want to go and relax and chill out, and then that's what I'll go and do. But if it makes someone insecure, then it's like there's something they'll have to deal with, because you can't forgo your own independence because other people can't stand to be on their own. Because then that means you lose a side of you because they haven't found their self confidence. So the healing journey we go on, other people have to go on too. But it's about respecting, because I see too many people do this shit where they prioritize like a hobby, a passion, or just something that's on the side. They prioritize that over a relationship or a person, and I just think you're so deluded. You'll literally push everybody away from your life because you think that this thing that is really just a distraction is your world. When really, if you find the right person, you can make incredible memories, have a wonderful life, and it will supersede it's vastly the distraction that you thought was really important. For me, gaming is a vice. It's something I've had for a long time. I enjoy it in periods. Sometimes I don't even play anything for a long time. It's like it goes in waves. It goes in waves, but I also find it very therapeutic when you go through situations. So, for instance, now where I'm going to just switch off, I haven't watched anywhere near enough movies, and there's some films I want to catch up on. I like watching Guardians of the Galaxy. I just laugh to it because I think it's funny, the humor, the little sarcasms. I love all that. Um, and there's so many other movies, of course, and it's like you just start watching. I'm like, oh, so many I've got to catch up on. I haven't allowed myself that freedom, just to relax. So that to that extent, it's crazy, isn't it? There's some TV shows I want to catch up on. Some I like to watch on repeat, and I haven't watched them on repeat for a while. I know that's absolutely insane, but it's like there's certain shows that I do enjoy watching over. Like, for instance, I like Suits. I love Seinfeld. I love The Big Bang Theory. And these are shows that I can watch and it go on, you get to the end and you can start again. Get to the end, start again. And haven't done that loop for a while. These are just little things. I know it's so stupid, but at the same time, it's like it's that level of relaxation. I'm not allowed myself to relax. For instance, I haven't even listened to as much music as I used to in the past. That's another thing, and I want to get back into reading. I started making progress, and now I've stopped for the past, I think, about the week or so. But it's like, that's not good. I want to make time, but balancing everything's a freaking nightmare. Especially when your mind's preoccupied with other things. So I'm going to release the pressure of finances. Try not to let it carry so much weight at the moment. Not focus on love and romance. I get a lot of signs about it, but I'm just going to switch off now because I don't need any more signs. I need action, and if no action's coming, I don't need a sign for it. It's just annoying me now. And I think finances, I've just got to look at what I actually want in the short term, because I've got to stop thinking long term, because long term stops me taking action in the short term. So if I think, for instance, or I feel something could happen in what I'm already existing to do, then I'll wait for that opportunity, because I don't see the point of keep going backwards to go forwards. But if it turns out that opportunity is 6 months away, for instance, then what the hell am I waiting for in this present moment? And that's what I've got to start doing. I've just got to start saying, look, I don't know what's coming. Well, I know roughly what's coming because I get a lot of signs and I instinctively know things. What I don't know is how and when. But like I say, it frustrates me because I could invest money in the home, and then there could be an opportunity that takes me away from home, and it'd be like, well, what did you spend the money there for? And that's where it just gets annoying, because you're like investing where I can't win. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I get a little resentful sometimes, like for the books. I absolutely love my books, so I'd never feel like bad that I created them, and I wouldn't feel bad about the ones I'm creating next. But sometimes I just think there's no rush, because like, I don't know what more I can do. I don't see the point. If I'd make 20, what difference does it make at this point? It's demoralizing. Um, but I'm always proud of them, and when I'm working on them, I'm like, oh, that's great. That's a great bit. I kind of love to add that, and that's the thing. So I don't doubt what I do, not at all. I know what I do is incredibly unique. I don't think that's not boosting an ego, and I've said that a lot. I just don't think there's many. I don't think other things like this exist. They might exist in a different way, but not in the way that I do it. I don't think so. Like, for instance, I've seen some books, some authors who tell like heartbreaking, tragic stories, but they've got like hundreds of these damn things. And I bet they're all written in exactly the same way. They just change some characters, and that's why they regurgitate them so quickly. It's like, that's not original. It's probably the same old story over and over again, written in the same old way. And I guarantee you, someone picks up my book, A Father's Daughter, my first one, for instance, and it's literally sharing the journey as it happened of the family court that I went through, the separation from my daughter, the heartbreak and something. I don't think anyone reading that book in the way that it's written would have read anything like it ever. I don't think so. Not as raw as it is, and as personal as it is, and a fly on the wall as it is. There's no, I don't think at all. No, and that goes for the other book, A Heartbroken Daughter. And then when you go through my spiritual book, I don't think there's another spiritual book like it either. Again, by the way I reveal and the way I communicate it, I don't think anybody communicates it like I do. And it's the same with my self-healing books, personal development. I don't think there's books like that either. I just don't, and I think what I do is unique, and I stand by that, and I'm aware of it. So, and it's natural to me 'cause it's the way I create. So, for instance, if we're going to talk about personal development and transformation, you could say Jordan Peterson. I've talked about him in the past. He, some people I think are too academic. So he's great. He's great to hear on camera and things. But I think if you was to read his books, I haven't read it. I've only read. I just read like open one of the pages. I've got two of his books. Haven't read them yet. But even just briefly, you just know you're going down a path where this person's going to be very philosophical, but it's going to be too intense to put it into practical sense. And that's where I think some of them get lost. They don't articulate it in a way that people can relate in their own lives. So it might be wise teachings, but implementing that in your own life isn't really going to correspond as well. But I think anyone reading my books, I guarantee you're going to relate to it on a personal level, and you're going to have a self reflect, and it's going to help improve your life. So I know the power that's in my books, believe me, because I'm putting everything I know, all my knowledge, into them in a way that I know is relatable to people. And I think that's the art form that gets lost by many. So although they haven't had the recognition yet, I've got absolutely no doubt they'll get recognized one day. And it'll be like a tidal wave. I've always said it from day one. It's like dominoes. There'll be a point where one of the books, I actually think it might be A Father's Daughter, um, but it might be Losing Your Mind and Finding Your Soul. I think out of them two books, they'll be the two that, because they're the two that tend to get the most attention anyway. Um, but yeah, it'll be someone gets interested in that. Maybe they read the next one. Maybe they read the next one. You know, all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. So it's worth me keep creating because there's a body of work for people when they finally are interested. You know. But like I said, I can't keep my head in the clouds, keep waiting for this dream to manifest and become real. Because the reality is, life can change so beautifully, can't it? I could end up in the life of my dreams with a person I love. We could end up married, have a child, and all sorts of things. And it's like traveling and all sorts. It's like, wow, who would have thought? From this level of frustration today, who would have thought that? You know, and likewise, the career opportunities could happen. I actually like the idea that I'd create my own career, though. I don't, you know, it may be that someone gives me an opportunity, and that'd be wonderful. Why not? If it relates to me, I'm not going to sell myself for it though. So I ain't gonna sell myself short for an opportunity. It has to align, otherwise I'm not interested. But at the same time, it'd be nice if I managed to create for myself and not need those opportunities. Of course, even if I don't need it, I still, if it's interesting, I would consider it. But it'd be nice if sort of like I was self sufficient. What I do made me a living. That'd be really nice because yeah, I know I have a passion for what I do, and I know I'm good at what I do. It's just getting the audience really to be ready to self reflect because that's what it all comes down to. I think it's all timing. I think most people are just not ready to look at themselves and self reflect in the way that I do it to myself every day. I don't think most people are ready to do that to themselves. But I think once they're open to it, I think then they'll realize through my content, not only my books, but through my videos, they'll be ready to listen to what I'm saying. And rather than be offended and take it personally, I think they'll realize the message I'm delivering to them. It's almost like tough love, you know, but with positive direction. And then people start elevating their lives. But until people are ready for that, it's just falling on deaf ears, isn't it? And that's unfortunately, I think where society is at the moment is where I'm clashing with it. I think I'm ahead of my time in that sense. So it's waiting for the world to catch up. So I think for now, I need to learn to relax, chill out, play some video games, watch some movies, um, listen to some music, read some books. And if I was more wild, be more promiscuous, but I'm not a wild lunatic, so sadly, that side eludes me. So, yeah, just do the tried and tested formula of keeping myself entertained in the meantime. But yeah, bit of a rambling one, but hopefully, at some point, these videos make some sense to at least one person.